How you doing, folks? We're live. We're going live now on LinkedIn in a few minutes. We're just live on TikTok. We're in menswear number 46 on Dawson Street. So we'll talk about some of the stuff that's in here later on. It's fantastic. So if you want anything for Father's Day, this is the place to go. So we're going to go live now in a couple of minutes, in less than a minute, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Facebook Live. So we're just waiting for the clock to tick down. You all know how this works. It takes a few minutes, and we're down to 30 seconds. Just like what happens when the space shuttle took off that time, for the first time. And that was the first time I was caught in the Mitch that day. Okay, we're just going to go live now in 21 seconds. There we go. Okay. We have go live in two places. Right, okay. And we're going live on Instagram. Okay, good morning, folks. We are live in menswear number 46 on Dawson Street with the man who started this business, Richard. So we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook Live, we're live on TikTok. It's the 13th of June, so if you listen to us now, we are live. If you listened to us yesterday, we weren't here, and if you listen to us tomorrow, it's a recording, just so you know. So, Richard, thanks so much for coming along. Appreciate you being involved, because Richard's now the sponsor for this season. Menswear 46 is a sponsor for this season, and the reason I asked Richard was because I actually got my suit here for my daughter's wedding, and my son got his suit as well, which we all look fantastic in the photographs, absolutely fantastic in the photographs. So Richard and Gary and his team and Ruth did a fantastic job. Richard, just go back a bit before we talk about the business. When was what was your first summer job?
My first summer job, God, was back in the 80s, and I got a lawnmower and I walked around my neighbourhood cutting people's lawns.
Did you?
Yeah. So that would have been, I suppose, 1986, 1987.
Really?
And then from that I got a job cutting the grass in Sutton Castle, and I suppose that was my first kind of, job working for somebody else or whatever,
It's an amazing amount of children whose first job is actually getting the father's lawnmower out.
Yeah.
And going door to door.
Yeah.
Trying to get a few bob together for the summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, and if the summer and the weather is great, happy days.
Yeah, it makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference. So from there, did you go to college? What did you do?
Yeah. So I left school in 1989, and at the time, the 80s being the way they were with jobs and whatnot, really there was no job opportunity. So one of the reasons I went to college was because there was no job waiting for me. So I went to UCD and I studied economics.
All right, okay.
And I graduated in 1993. And from 1993, I left to go and visit my sister who was living in Hong Kong. And the intention was I was supposed to come back and do a master's. And the intention was spend the summer in Hong Kong working whatever bars or whatever else.
Yeah.
And then I come home. But when I went there, I kind of got the bug for travelling.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I started kind of hanging around with all these backpackers from all areas of the world. And I ended up staying in Hong Kong for the year. And obviously never did my master's, never came back. And then from that, I started backpacking. And I went to, I got a green card to the States. Actually, it was around the same time they were doing the embassy.
Yeah.
And I went to the States then after Hong Kong, and then from the States I went to Australia for a year, and loved it.
So 3 or 4 years of travelling around.
About 3 years, yeah.
Seeing other countries, what's happening in other countries, their lifestyles, their culture,
yeah,
all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the whole experiencing new things. Like Australia was fabulous. I loved the States as well. Sorry, and it was just it was something I never thought about doing, was because of the people I met in Hong Kong. Because it's a kind of jumping point for lots of places.
It is, yeah.
For backpackers, and I just liked the idea, and I didn't really at the time, as I say, there was nothing kind of saying to me like, well, you better come back.
Well, here we're still in the doldrums. Like Ireland was still, it was still very few jobs around. It was starting to move, but it hadn't moved yet, really.
No. I came back eventually in 1995, and you could see the green shoots. They were,
it was starting to them. Yeah.
So it definitely had picked up since when I left school, which was '89, which it was dire.
Yeah.
It was absolutely dire. But still, it was still tough. It was still difficult,
Yeah. When you left in '89, I went to the UK, so it was around the same time. For the same reason, there was no work here.
Yeah.
There was no work here, so everybody was getting either a boat or this new airline that was a bit cheaper called Ryanair.
Yeah.
That left you miles away in Stansted.
Yeah.
And so when you came back, when did you get the bug to actually go and work for yourself, and all the hassle and anxiety and stress that goes with that? Like, what was your is this your first business, or was there something else before?
No, my father was involved in menswear. He was a wholesaler.
Oh, right, okay.
And that's I started working for him, and from that I started working from him when I came home in 1996, and then I went from that, and it was in 2004 I decided he had retired, and I decided that I wanted to be an agent as opposed to a wholesaler.
Right, okay. So an agent being someone like what you are now, or an agent is someone that drives down to the shop selling stuff.
Yeah, you're a wholesaler,
okay.
but you're not distributing. So and that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to work in tailoring as well. So I started off in 2004, and I got a showroom, and I approached a few different companies. One of the companies I approached was a high-end luxury tailoring brand called Palzoliri.
Right, okay.
And I kind of hit it at the right time, because 2004, 2005 was in the middle of the Celtic Tiger.
It was all moving forward. Yeah, a lot of building work, a lot of money coming in, a lot of investment.
Yeah. And people looking for more expensive, whether it be a car or a suit. They wanted.
Everybody walking around town looked like they were in London. They all had the image. The only thing that was missing was the umbrella and the top hat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the bowler hat. Yeah.
So and that's really I worked with them for 4 years, and then in 2009, obviously, the crash came.
Yeah.
And I actually, the year before the crash, I had been approached by a gentleman called John Rife, who was the agent for Baumler.
Oh yes, I do know them. Yeah.
And so Baumler at the time would have been probably one of the biggest suit companies in Ireland, and he asked me to come and work with him. So and the intention was at the time that I was going to be working for him, but then he was going to sell me the agency. So that was the
right. Okay, so there's a buyout for you to take control of it at some stage.
So I'd be working for him, and then that was, I went working for John then in 2008. Then the crash happened. Then Baumler went bankrupt in 2009.
Right.
And then they were bought over the year after, and actually they went. If there's ever a good time to go bankrupt, it was the right time, because at the time the market was full. It's on its hands and knees. So people weren't. They kind of missed the fact that they'd gone. The agency wasn't there for about 8-9 months, because we just couldn't deliver.
Right. Okay.
And as I say, if there's ever a time that you wanted that to happen, it was
then.
It was 2009, and then they were bought over, and then from 2010 I bought the agency back from John in 2010 as we'd agreed, and then we had 9 really good years until COVID.
Yeah, COVID really changed a lot. People don't realise, for people like you in business who you needed footfall, how much COVID changed stuff.
Well, COVID, I've said this a few times, for us personally in this trade, COVID was bad obviously, but you kind of felt like we're all in it together.
Yes, yeah.
But what happened after COVID is arguably worse, because we then entered into supply chain issues.
Right, across the world.
Yeah. Because people, what they didn't realise, like in the clothing business, it's not like other industries. To produce suits, you need lead times. You have to pre-sell it, you have to buy the fabric, you have to get the fabric milled, you have to get the fabric produced, and it's always produced in far-flung areas. And the last company I worked with was Carl Gross, and in the middle of all this, one of their main production facilities is in the Ukraine.
Right, okay.
So, on top of supply chain issues,
then you have a war going on.
You have a war going on, and then what happens is, to really bore you, you have the suits are manufactured in the Ukraine, but then they're taking the thread from somewhere else and they're getting the buttons from China.
So if you go to wholesale and order, say, the suit that you're wearing on now, you want to get a number of them in stock. How long from ordering them to them delivering?
If it's a seasonal, what they call a seasonal cloth, is 5 months.
Really?
4 to 5
Takes
months.
that long?
Yeah, because they have to amalgamate. They can't just produce one suit. They produce a fabric. I go and sell it to different retailers, and then they amalgamate all the orders. Then they buy the fabric. Then they have to get the fabric produced. But like it's all sorts of things that people don't know and don't care about.
Yeah.
It's like we had only recently we bought shirts in from Myanmar, and they were 2 months late. And the reason they were 2 months late was because of the Suez Canal and the Houthis.
Right, okay.
So stuff that you see in the news, you kind of go, oh, geez, you know.
Yeah, but you don't realise, the
implications.
Because the chap I know who's in transport, and he was saying the same as you, like, before he went into it, he was in it before that, and sold and went back into it. But he said since he went back into it, he's had COVID, then he's had the Suez Canal, and he said it's just been one thing after another, and now he has the tariffs. And it's just like, and that's what people don't see about businesses. It's things that you might hear about in the UK or the Suez Canal somewhere. You don't realise it actually comes and hits you on your whole door.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And as I say, we're really only now, very recently, getting over the supply chain issues.
Right.
That's how like impactful they were. That it's gone on. People like COVID's like a distant memory at this stage.
It is, yeah.
But now, like the hangover from COVID for us, as I say, was. We couldn't deliver, so we had scenarios for a year where customers would order 10 suits, they might get 5 jackets and 3 pairs of trousers because they're sent in separately.
Oh, you don't all come in as one unit?
No.
Oh, right, okay.
They come in, because we sell now what they call mix and match. So when you buy a suit from a supplier, you buy a jacket and a trouser separately.
Right, okay.
So you had, then you had customers who they put in an order for 10 suits, they get 5 jackets, 3 whatever. They can't put it out on the floor because they can't sell it.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Then they'd ring you up and say, when am I getting the balance of this? And you'd say, oh well, probably about 2 months.
And in the meantime, they don't want to pay it because they haven't got the order they put in the order for.
Yeah.
So it's an excuse for them. So which affects your cash flow, which affects everything across the
No,
board.
I'll tell you what happens is the company we dealt with, so they'd send in the goods broken.
Yeah.
Then I'd have to ring up the customers and say, look, it's going to be 6 weeks, whatever, 2 months until you're going to get the balance.
Yeah.
And then what happens is after 60 days, the broken pieces that they had brought in are now due for payment.
By you?
No, not by me. This is we're agents.
Right. Okay.
So the customer,
right, okay.
like they have to, whoever it might be, Brown Thomas or whatever else.
Yeah. They have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're ringing up the client saying like, he's like, well, I haven't even got it on the floor. It's broken.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back. It was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
An absolute nightmare.
And did you find it after COVID? Because we all have people like during COVID, everyone was sitting around in pajamas or a tracksuit, all that type of stuff. Where beforehand you had people go to work in suits and all that, and after that people working from home. Did that change the mix of customer and what we're buying?
100%. Well, I think it was happening. I remember I was at an exhibition in it was about 2017, 2018, and I met a friend of mine who I used to work with in Palzoliri, an Italian guy called Roberto, and I was having a coffee with him. He said, "That's it." He said, "It's all over. People aren't going to wear suits anymore." Yeah. Initially, no one wears suits. They only want to only the bankers and the politicians wear suits, and people don't want to look like bankers or politicians. And I kind of went, yeah, well, and so it goes. That's what's happened. Is like people are hybrid working, they're working from home.
Yeah.
They don't have to wear suits. However, the spend has gone in a different place. So we're now selling more suits than ever, but it's for weddings and occasion wear.
Right. So you've had to adjust. So did you have to constantly adjust your business model to go chasing that market, or did that naturally come to you?
A bit of both, to be honest with you. You move with the market. As the market moves, if you're lucky enough and you can anticipate it, well then, you're really on the front foot. But you have to change with it. There's no point in filling a shop full of merchandise that sold 10 years ago and just keeping your fingers crossed that it's going to sell again. What happened was that traditionally, customers, the banker down the road or the guy who works in an insurance company, he'd come in January time, he'd buy himself a lady in a charcoal suit, and you wouldn't see him again for another 6 months. That guy, what he's doing is he's coming in and he wants a nice jacket, like you, Mark, today, jacket and trousers. If we had this meeting, 10 years ago, you probably would have been in a suit and a tie.
I would have been, 100%, yeah. And I know I call these sports jackets, I don't know what they still do, but I buy a few of them with different colour trousers. Yeah. So you can wear it with jeans, you can wear it with trousers, wear it jeans. And that's what more and more people are doing now, ain't they? They're mix and matching and get more, for 4 or 5 units, they get more outfits.
Yeah, and they're spending more money on jackets and trousers. I mean, we're retailing jeans here at the moment at €250.
Right. Okay.
Now, I never thought that was going to be a market, but like what it is
in a
the guy,
men's shop.
yeah, what it is that a guy wants to, he wants a nice jacket and he wants a nice pair of jeans. He's not interested. It's not a pair of jeans he's going to cut the grass in.
No, it's not.
It's a nice pair of jeans and a nice pair of shoes.
A nice pair of shoes, a pair of boots to go where they have the whole look.
Yeah, so where he was spending maybe €600 in a suit, now he's spending like, I don't know, €300 or €400 in a jacket, €200 in a pair of chinos or a pair of jeans or whatever. And that's where his money's going.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in saying that, we do see the suit is actually starting to come back. There's more people coming in. Yeah, for sure. I think to a certain extent, the whole working from home thing, the gloss is kind of worn off.
It has a more, and you can see even the train stations, like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, they're full. Monday, Wednesday, there's people working from home. But they're getting busier. There's less days when the car park is empty, and the roads are getting busier.
Yeah.
Which is good. But I think there's more people. There's more people getting back into suits, and it's actually in some ways it's easier to wear a suit. You get up in the morning and decide, well, okay, what am I going to wear now today?
It's 100% because like we're not Italian. Irish guys, they see a suit as a uniform.
They do, yeah.
So you get up in the morning time, and like the number of times you've seen it where guys come in and they say like, I want a suit, but I don't want a navy suit. I've got too many navy suits.
Yeah.
And they walk around, and then they invariably come back and buy another navy suit because for them they want to wear something that just works. They don't have to think about it. They don't want a big loud leery stripe or check. They just want something that they can throw it on in the morning time with a shirt and kind of go out the door.
But the suit, in a way, the suit though is an awful lot of people's brand, because I know one or two. Like there's a very well-known solicitor we both know based in Dublin, and he wears loud suits, loud handkerchiefs, and that's his style, right? And he always looks fantastic. And he always looks fantastic. And some people like that. They have the suit says about what they do and who they are, and where they are in the profession as well, doesn't it?
Oh no, 100%. I mean, I know what you're talking about, and he wouldn't be kind of he wouldn't be unique. I mean, there's a lot of guys who've got a kind of a what would you say, almost like a signature.
Yes.
And that's great. Like, you know, it's you can compare us to the Italians. So when you go to Italy, and the Italian guys just love to dress up, and they love to stand out, and they love to be noticed. Where I think an Irish guy, he just wants to kind of blend into the background. He doesn't want someone coming over and saying, "God, this is fabulous jacket. Where'd you get that?"
Yeah.
You feel kind of
out of place,
And that's why, like, when we sell as a trade, we sell kind of more kind of muted, like navies and charcoals, because it's exactly that. Like if a guy came in and he wore like a really kind of loud, flamboyant check, and he wears it to work the next day, he can't wear it again for another God knows how long, because
nobody knows that they wore it.
Like 3 days later, someone's kind of going, "Oh, Mark's wearing the same suit." So that type of thing. So, you know, it's just that's just the way it is, you know.
But still, like the first time I ever saw someone wearing a brown belt with a black suit was in Italy. It was actually the texture score for one of the presidents, and my dad always said you could always only wear black shoes, wear black stuff. Now that's all changed completely. But I was flabbergasted. But they were even the Texans and all there, they were all dressed to impress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really like well, on the subject of brown shoes, I mean, there's brown shoes and there's brown shoes.
Yeah.
Like walnut and really dark, where it's almost black. Like we have a pair of shoes in stock, and we had a customer in last week, and he said, "Is there black?" No, they're dark brown. He goes, "Are you sure?" And it's not until you take a black shoe and put it up against it, you kind of
you see the difference.
So it's much more neutral. You can wear that.
Yeah.
So it's not beige. It's not a kind of light brown, because you know.
Yeah.
That's you're gonna. I'm wearing light brown today.
You are, yeah. And I'm wearing black.
Yeah. but traditionally, like, you know, it would be a dark shoe.
Yeah. And so, how long have you been in this business? In like the shop here now? How long is the shop's here a while, isn't it?
It's 2021. We actually opened in during COVID.
You actually,
great.
Very brave. Very brave.
So 4 years. Going to 4 years.
4 years now. Fantastic.
4 years.
And so. A lot of a good bit of your clientele is weddings, which I know because I got my own wedding suit here for my daughter's wedding, and my son did as well. And that's a big part of your business now, and local offices, because you have good bodies. You have Davies nearby. You have all politicians down the road. You've other accountancy firms, so it's a mixture of clientele, is it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. And you know, it takes what they usually say. It takes 3 years to get a business set up, but like I think menswear it's longer, because guys are so loyal to you know,
Two
they've
different
always
places.
shopped in this, and like, you know,
Yeah.
they know the salesman, and the salesman knows what they like,
Yeah.
and all that type of thing. So it's look, every business is difficult, and menswear is no different.
Yeah, but I come in here a good few times now, and sometimes you're busy, sometimes you're not busy. Like, how are you finding, like, from a business point of view, from someone owning a business, how are you finding business generally in Dublin, around this area? And considering also, like, there's less cars on the road now as well.
Yeah.
Is that causing you a problem?
I think what it is that there seems to be a concerted opinion within the government. I think that, like, they're trying to get people out of the city.
Yeah,
They
but
don't want
there's a lot of business in the cities that need people.
Absolutely, yeah, and obviously that's not good for business. But like, what it is now is that people have more disposable income.
Yeah.
So you're not waiting on, you know, you're not expecting a huge footfall, but what you are expecting is when someone comes in that they're going to spend money. So you're looking for more, you know, a guy comes in, he's not going to buy just a jacket or a suit. You want to sell him a jacket, a suit, a shirt, pair of, you know, shoes. So you want to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the spend is bigger, and that's just the way the business is. Yeah.
And would more people come into you now? Would people come in and just buy a jacket, or is majority of people kitting themselves out fully?
Well, our intention is to try and fit somebody out.
Yeah. So you're trying to upsell all the time.
Yeah.
So if someone comes in a pair of trousers, you're going to say, yeah, I have a lovely pair of shoes to go with that.
Well,
I have a lovely pair of socks to go with that.
Yeah.
And upsell them.
You have to, yeah, and
Yeah.
like that's the secret. Like, I mean, you can ask anyone in the trade. The most difficult thing is to try and get good salesmen and salespeople.
Yeah.
Some people make the mistake of thinking like selling's easy. It's not.
No,
It's actually
not.
very difficult.
Yeah.
And you can't crowd us. You can't crowd somebody. You can't, you know, really force them because they don't like that.
Yeah.
So it's trying to pick what the customer wants.
And every customer is completely different than the last customer.
Yeah.
And how you treat them, how you talk to them, what you even show them. Like, and you have to get a handle on that very quickly when someone comes in.
Yeah, I think you kind of know from the start what their intention is.
Yeah.
You know, if a guy's running in the door like, I want a 16.5 white shirt, he's not interested in coming down, and
No.
he just wants to grab it and go.
Yeah.
And actually, that's another part of the business which is completely changed, which is the internet. So now
Yeah.
we're competing with the internet as well.
And like, I asked you this lastly, you're not on the internet, and that's a conscious decision at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. And why is that a conscious decision?
I think we feel that if you're gonna do it, you have to do it properly.
Yeah. If you want to do well on the internet, brand wise and all, you have to put your all into it, and you have to deliver, and it has to be the same quality and experience really that's in the shop.
It's a separate business. You need separate people running it.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, do up the website and stuff on the website, and then see to the customer, we don't have the stock, or we can't get that to you because we don't have this.
Yeah.
So you either do it or you don't do it.
Right.
So the website we have is it's a window into the shop. It's, you know, what we are, what we carry, and so forth. It's not to sell.
Right. And do you have a plan at some stage on the internet, or is your business strategy at the moment it's not on the cards?
No, our business strategy at the moment is we're trying to move into a more premium bracket. So we're doing a refit on the store down here in the next few weeks, and we want to put better product.
Right. Okay.
Not necessarily more expensive product, but we want to put, I suppose, more premium looking product. You know, quality has to be there, and there has to be a point of difference. And we want the store to look slightly different as well as the product, because if you're not different,
Yeah.
you
People
know,
just walk by.
well, you know, why would they, if they're shopping with a guy down the road, why would they come here if we're offering exactly the same thing?
Yeah.
There's no difference. It's like, well, I might as well just go in there. Like, so we're trying to do different product lines, and every retailer is the same. They want a certain uniqueness to their business. And we like to think that we have a more informal atmosphere here, where people can come in, they can sit down, have a coffee,
Yeah.
they can have a glass of prosecco, whatever it is.
And it is a very relaxed atmosphere. Even when I was in here getting fitted out for the suit, it is a very relaxed, take your time attitude. You're not rushed, and you're just looked after. And if you want to think about it for a few minutes, Gary, our route disappears, let you think when you want to, which is nice.
Yeah, well, we hit on the idea of doing prosecco Saturdays and Sundays, which was a great success because, you know, invariably, like a guy and his fiance are down here, and she's basically there just to say yes or no. He's doing the trying on, so she wants to sit down. And then, like, it's a guy says, "Do you want a glass of prosecco just to relax?"
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, you know, that type of thing. Or we offer coffee, good coffee, as opposed to, you know, just whatever instant. I think it's just a small feature.
There is, and like, I know the Grafton barbers do the whiskey.
Yeah.
I've never got one because I still haven't figured out how I'm going to drink a glass of whiskey while someone's cut my hair and there's no hair going into it. So,
Yeah.
but every time I go to one of Malahide, and they always ask you, "Do you want a coffee?"
Yeah.
or a glass of whiskey. And like, I know if I'm going to be next in line, I said, like, I'm going to ruin it.
Yeah,
Where am I
yeah.
going to leave it?
Yeah.
So, but for somewhere like here, I've never seen it in a shop like this. I've seen coffee, but I haven't seen someone being offered a G&T or a glass of Prosecco or something like that, which goes well with the brand and goes well with the image.
Yeah, I suppose I was in Holland a few years ago, and I remember I was working with a Dutch company, and the sales manager brought me into the store, and he did. So you could sit down,
right, okay.
and really nice store, and he had really nice product. Then there was an actual area, it was like a coffee shop where you could sit down. Obviously, we don't have that type of space.
Yeah.
But you could sit down, and his thing was like, he's not going to give you an Nescafe, although there's nothing wrong with Nescafe.
No, yeah.
But he wanted to give you really good coffee.
Yeah.
So it was really good coffee and really nice, biscuit or whatever. So everything was premium.
Yeah.
It was much more an environment. And I kind of liked the idea, because I thought, like, maybe like when the wife comes in and the husband, she's kind of with him, kind of going, oh look, she might be a little bored, or she's not buying, so
Yeah.
she's just sitting down and she's having a coffee, or maybe she has a glass of Prosecco.
And in a way, it slows the sales process down, doesn't it? Because then suddenly, if someone's having a coffee, they're not going to leave after 5 minutes, because it takes them a few minutes to drink the coffee, look at the stuff, come back and drink the coffee, order the Prosecco. So it's slowing down the whole pace, so you get more relaxed in what you have, because you have a lot of stock. So it takes a while for someone to look and see what suits them and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because it's seldom that someone's just going to come in, look at that suit and kind of go, I'll have that one in my size, thanks very much.
Yes.
I want to try on that one. And then, especially if the wife is here or the girlfriend, she's like, well, try on that one, because I think that... And so it's not like, it's not like going in and buying like a coffee. It takes a while.
It takes a while, yeah. And you need to get them into the mindset of taking a while.
Yeah, and I like the fit. And then
Yeah.
how do you accessorize it? And so there's a bit to it,
Okay, brilliant. So the plan for the future, you said, is you're going to change down here. You're going to upgrade it.
Yeah.
Because you're in a prime spot. You're on Dawson Street.
Yeah.
Like, you're down the road from the Mansion House. Like, you're down the road from Dal Air, and like you're in a prime spot. So, and when you do all that work, what changes will people say?
I just think the environment's going to be a little bit more different. I mean, we have to, like, just things like we want to put in new lighting that's going to come in within the next few weeks as well. But this is just purely kind of cosmetic.
Right. Okay.
It's like, just to have it, just clean it up, and that's really.
That's it.
And it's also more practical, because the fixtures that we have coming in are more practical in terms of showing product as well, which is obviously very important. And we brought in some new brands. So like a couple of years ago, we were much more kind of mainstream, and now we're doing more expensive brands. So we have Oscar Jacobsen, which is a premium Swedish brand that we're doing now at the moment. So with a premium brand, you have to put it in the right environment, otherwise it's
for people to buy it.
Correct.
And Father's Day,
yeah,
a few more days, right? So my kids are listening. Some fantastic stuff in there. What, ideally, if someone's coming in, would spend 100, 150 quid on the powder, what would you be aiming? What would you be pointing them towards, or what do you have for them? Someone working in town, they want to come in today, or tomorrow Saturday, to get something they've forgotten. What would you point them towards?
Well, obviously, I mean, the easy purchase is like a pocket handkerchief or like a tie.
Yeah.
But if it was me, like, men invariably don't know their size, by the way, in suits. Everyone thinks they're 34-inch waist, doesn't matter what size they are. They're 34-inch
yeah, that's
waist.
very true, yeah.
But most men, or the majority of men, know their shirt size.
They do, yeah.
For whatever reason. And the easiest purchase I would have thought for Father's Day, if a daughter comes in, is like, well, Dad's size 16 the shirt, I know that.
Yeah.
And it works, so like, shirt's always going to work. So we have
it
a large
is,
selection of shirts as well. Summertime's arrived, it's muggy outside, linen shirts. So I doubt very much if a daughter's going to come in and buy her father a sports jacket, because she doesn't know his size.
No, doesn't know the size and what he likes. And linen shirts, especially linen shirts, like especially the ones you have here, they can be very dressy. People forget with a nice pair of trousers and the shoes, they can still look pretty well going into the office.
Yeah. The problem with linen is that people can't get their head around the fact of the creases.
Yeah.
Which is something that is,
it's the nature of the cloth.
It's going to crease, and like some of the premium companies, I always say to people when they're buying, if they buy a wool suit, if you're going to drive the car, take the wool suit, the jacket off and hang it up.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, when it's not supposed to crease. It is going to crease, but
Yeah.
it's not supposed to. But if you're buying a linen suit, crease it up, wear it in the car. Throw it, because you want that kind of destroyed look.
Yeah.
That's what linen does.
It does.
And
Yeah.
if you're gonna, I remember one day we had a lady here and she was buying something for her husband, and she said it was a linen trousers, and she said, like, so how often would I have to iron this? And I was like, I actually said to her, I said, in the nicest possible way, I said, I don't think this is for you because this is going to break your heart. If
it is, yeah. Well, she's hung up that she doesn't like a looking crease on him. Every time he takes it off, or when he's walking around, she'll be chasing with an iron. You get the creases over.
The litmus test is like whenever somebody comes in, I always, if you get, because we've got pure linen and linen mixes. So linen mixes are perfect for the Irish guy because they want the optic of a linen, but they don't want the performance of a linen.
Yeah.
And although they think they do, until they wear it, they kind of go, I think I'm just going to crease this much. But if you take, we've got pure linen garments in stock. If you take a pure linen sleeve and just punch it up like that, and you just say to the person like, that's what it did look like. This is what it's going to look like now
on your arm.
So if this is the way it's supposed to look. So if you like that, happy days. If that's going to drive you mad, this is not the jacket for you. It's one of those things. And it should lose its shape, and it should look. It's much more casual.
Natural
an open. So a linen suit would be with an open neck linen shirt. I mean, specifically speaking, like you won't see Italians wearing linen suits with shirts, cotton shirts and ties.
No, it's all pure casual. Pure casual.
Linen is a look. It's a linen shirt. It's a t-shirt underneath. Whereas we still kind of, there's nothing wrong with it, but like if you really want to be pernickety about it, it should be a cotton shirt with a wool suit and a linen shirt with a linen suit.
Okay. All right, Bridget. Fantastic. It was great.
Thank you very much for
coming to business. So, folks, number 46, menswear, Dawson Street. And it's a fantastic range of stuff down here. You should come down. Richard is and the business is sponsoring this season of the podcast, which is fantastic. And we have some fantastic people coming on over the next few weeks. A lot of them are hoping to do live in the shop. So you can always come down, and if we're interviewing someone you want to meet, absolutely no problem. And we'd love you to come down, see what's in the shop, have a G&T on the quiet during your lunch break. No one else needs to know. There'll be no cameras, or have a fantastic cup of coffee while you see what's here. So thanks very much. We're going to put this up on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and it'll be also available as an audio if you wish as well. So thanks so much for listening, folks, and have a great day and a great weekend. I'm just going to come off here now, and we're going to end this. We're off. We're just going to come off TikTok as well, folks. Thanks so much for logging in. Appreciate it. Here I am, and we're going to end that now.